Good evening. Welcome to a regular board meeting of the Board of Education of the Toms River Regional Schools. This meeting was announced to the public through a notice published in the Asbury Park Press and the Star Ledger on January 29, 2021, which constituted at least 48 hours notice as required by law under the Open Public Meetings Act. Roll call.
Contessa.
Here.
Egan.
Here.
Howe.
Here.
Kidney.
Here.
Mazenko.
Here.
Palmieri.
Here.
Williams.
Here.
Palazzo. Nardini.
Here. I need a motion to go into executive session.
Motion Plaza. Second Egan.
All in favor?
Aye.
Time is 6:03 PM.
Resolved that the Board of Education at this time move to closed session to be held in Conference Room A at the Administrative Offices, 1144 Cooper Avenue, Toms River, New Jersey, and virtually for the purpose of and to include negotiations, legal litigation, harassment, intimidation, and bullying report, fire and security drill report, suspension report, personnel, superintendent search, other subject to change as outlined under the Open Public Meetings Act.
Good evening, everyone. I need a motion to return to regular session.
Motion Mazenko.
Second Plaza.
All in favor?
Aye.
Time is 7:35 PM. Everyone, please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Yes. You know, I should have asked everybody to remain standing. I'd like to have a moment of silence for Mr. Al Dietrich. Mr. Al Dietrich was not only my friend, I knew him for over 35 years, but he was a great man. He did wonders for this district. He's our past superintendent, and there's nothing but nice things to say about that man. Thank you.
Mr. Nardini. Mr. Nardini.
Yes, Ms. Egan?
May I have a personal privilege, because that's the same subject that we just did
Sure, go right ahead. Is your mic on?
Yes, it is on. I would just like to suggest or ask the board to think about possibly having a building or a street or something in memory of Mr. Dietrich. He did a fantastic job as superintendent and worked forever in the school district. He also was very, very, very active in the student loan fund, which I don't know if you all know about that. It was a fund where a group of people would privately or would do fundraising and so forth, and they gave scholarships to Toms River Schools children at a low interest rate. So I just would like the board to possibly think about it, and maybe we could come up with some idea. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Egan. And to be honest with you, we heard this before from someone who suggested it, and we have a district policy on that. It's policy number 7250, and it relates to schools and facility names. It takes you have to do a poll. You have to have so many signatures, and there's a whole, well, it's only 2 pages to follow, 3 pages to follow, but it can be done. So remember, 7250.
Got it.
Thank you. Okay. Turn it over to Mr. Gillinella, superintendent's comments.
Thank you, Mr. President. A couple of different issues and some very pleasant issues. I don't know if this one's a pleasant or not, depending as a parent, but you probably received the call already announcing that we will be remote tomorrow due to the weather. The weather is supposed to come in, and we've watched it and had a number of meetings on it, come in early tomorrow morning. It's going to be bad or snowy all day. So for the safety issue of teachers and students coming into school, we decided to pivot to all remote for tomorrow. So some weather concerns I've addressed there. I do want to mention proudly that we have a Toms River North alum nominated for the Nobel Peace Prize. Yeah, it's pretty impressive. We're going to do a press release on this. We're going to get something up on our website, but we've been informed that Maria Risa graduated in 1982 from High School North, served as class president for 3 years, before as a member of the chorus, orchestra, theater club, played basketball, softball, and unsurprisingly was voted the most likely to succeed. She has been nominated for the 2021 Nobel Peace Prize, but this is not her first brush with worldwide fame. In 2018, she was included in Time's Person of the Year issue, along with a group of worldwide journalists. She is a journalist. She's reported on terror networks and other corruption throughout the world, and we proudly congratulate her on her nomination for the Nobel Peace Prize, and you'll be seeing more in a press release coming out in the future. But that is really a feather in her cap.
That's excellent.
Also, we're going to get to our Teachers of the Year, but I just want to deal with one other issue. We talked about the reopening plan last week. We said at that time that we wanted to be flexible and be able to pivot if we see something. Most people saw the CDC guidelines come out, which were a little bit more restrictive than we had originally heard. We are following the plans from the New Jersey Health Department and New Jersey DOE. Those guidelines have not been updated. We expect them to be updated soon. So we're going to watch them very closely. And as stated last week, we're going to watch our infection rate very closely. Right now, it's still going down. We're in touch with the Ocean County Health Department on how they see it. I've talked to one of the directors at the Community Memorial Hospital, and what they're seeing at the hospital. So we want to make sure that you understand that we're staying flexible. We're watching those numbers, and we will reevaluate it as needed. But we are still aiming for that March 1st reopening for four half days for elementary, and then we're still hoping for that March 15th for the rest of the district. So I know some people are concerned about those guidelines, but we're looking at everything very carefully, and we'll be able to be flexible and move as we have stated in the past. And the last thing for me is really a pleasant item for the Teacher of the Year. You know, this year especially, this has been a difficult year for teachers, and it's really always an honor to win this award, but to win this award during a very difficult year really says something. You know, I've been here a very short time, and I sadly don't know most of these teachers personally. Some of those names are familiar to when my children were here, but I want to congratulate all those teachers for the work they do, and I'm going to turn this over to our assistant superintendents to talk a little bit about each one of them.
Thank you, Mr. Gianella. We are proud to announce High School East's Teacher of the Year, Stacy Nadeau, who teaches English and has been in our district for 23 years. Stacy was described by the building administration as involved, positive, and caring. We are also proud to announce High School East's Educational Services Professional of the Year, Sammy Vitting, who is the school nurse and has been in the district for 21 years. Sammy was described as being detail-oriented, caring, and accountable.
We are proud to announce High School North's Teacher of the Year, Kyle Siebert, who teaches science and has been in our district for 10 years. Kyle is charismatic, effective, and a visionary. We are proud to announce High School North's Educational Services Professional of the Year, Michelle Reardon, who is a guidance counselor and has been in our district for 14 years. Michelle is compassionate, devoted, and meticulous.
We are proud to announce High School South's Teacher of the Year, Matt Soul, who teaches social studies and has been in our district for 13 years. Matt is described as being dedicated, passionate, and one of the kindest people in our school community. We are also proud to announce High School South's Educational Services Professional of the Year, Ellen Deering, who is a guidance counselor and has been in our district for 40 years. Ellen is a one-of-a-kind individual, is a passionate advocate for our students, and a beautiful soul whom we all look up to.
We are proud to announce Intermediate East Teacher of the Year, Chelsea McCabe, who teaches math and has been in our district for 5 years. Chelsea is supportive, helpful, and caring. We are proud to announce Intermediate East Educational Service Professional of the Year, Dr. Lauren Facioni, who is a school psychologist and has been in our district for 6 years. Lauren is compassionate, understanding, and warm.
We are proud to announce Intermediate North's Teacher of the Year, Megan Steinberg, who teaches science and has been in our district for 5 years. Megan is enthusiastic, energetic, and eager. We are also proud to announce Intermediate North's Educational Services Professional of the Year, Kristen O'Leary, who is a guidance counselor and has been in our district for 7 years. Kristen is detail-oriented, compassionate, and a problem solver.
We are proud to announce Intermediate South's Teacher of the Year, Kyle Stanovich, who taught 6th grade science and has been in our district for 18 years. Kyle is a true educator, always energized, and highly respected. We'd also like to congratulate Carol on her recent retirement and thank her for her many years of service in our school district. We are proud to announce Intermediate South's Educational Services Professional of the Year, Diana Brush, who is a learning disabilities teacher consultant and has been in our district for 6 years. Diana is kind, empathetic, and supportive.
We are proud to announce Beechwood Elementary's Teacher of the Year, Heather Norrie, who teaches in our autism program and has been in our district for 8 years. Heather is patient, dedicated, and a model teacher. We are also proud to announce Beechwood Elementary's Educational Services Provider of the Year, Morgan Kennedy, who teaches speech and has been in our district for 2 years. Morgan is a team player, compassionate, and always willing to help anyone.
We are proud to announce Cedar Grove Elementary School's Teacher of the Year, Nicole Burak, who teaches 4th and 5th grade Learning and Language Disabilities class and has been in our district for 17 years. Nicole is dynamic, results-oriented, and a leader. We're also proud to announce Cedar Grove Elementary School's Educational Services Professional of the Year, Amy Leotti, who is a school nurse and has been in our district for 6 years. Amy is student-centered, pragmatic, and compassionate.
We are proud to announce Joseph A. Sitta Elementary School's Teacher of the Year, Christina Nolte, who teaches 2nd grade and has been in the district for 11 years. Christine is conscientious, sincere, and dedicated. We are also proud to announce Joseph A. Sitta School's Elementary Services Professional of the Year, Emily Marino, who is a Title I reading interventionist and has been in our district for 7 years. Emily is responsive, patient, and venturesome.
We are proud to announce East Dover's Teacher of the Year, Peggy Kruger, who teaches in the self-contained autism class and has been in our district for 6 years. Peggy is compassionate, an advocate, and determined. We're also proud to announce East Dover Educational Service Professional of the Year, Lisa Contagianis, who is a paraprofessional and has been in our district for 5 years. Lisa is dedicated, caring, and personable.
We are proud to announce Hooper Avenue Elementary's Teacher of the Year, Joanne Caselli, who teaches 4th grade and has been in our district for 22 years. Joanne is dedicated, compassionate, and positive. We are also proud to announce Hooper Avenue Elementary's Educational Services Professional of the Year, Mary Amsler, who is a paraprofessional in one of our autism rooms and has been in our district for 20 years. Mary is caring, supportive, and passionate.
We are proud to announce North Dover Elementary School's Teacher of the Year, Michael DeRiggi, who teaches 5th grade and has been in our district for 13 years. Michael is selfless, engaging, and dedicated. We're also proud to announce North Dover Elementary School's Educational Services Professional of the Year, Christina Pizzino, who is a paraprofessional and has been in our district for 13 years. Christina is helpful, nurturing, and dedicated to the success of the students she works with.
We are proud to announce Pine Beach's Teacher of the Year, Jessica Lyons, who teaches 2nd and 4th grade resource rooms and has been in our district for 12 years. Jessica is described as being resourceful, humble, and dedicated. We are also proud to announce Pine Beach Elementary's Educational Services Professional of the Year, Lois Madden, who is a paraprofessional for 2nd grade and has been in our district for 7 years. Lois is caring, dependable, and kind.
We are proud to announce Silver Bay's Teacher of the Year, Karen Santanone, who teaches vocal music and has been in our district for 17 years. Karen is exuberant, positive, and student-centered. We are also proud to announce Silver Bay's Educational Service Professional of the Year, Andrea Giello, who is a one-to-one paraprofessional and has been in our district for 8 years. Andrea is creative, patient, and nurturing.
We are proud to announce South Toms River Elementary School's Teacher of the Year, Carla Nye, who teaches 5th grade and has been in our district for 14 years. Carla is innovative, confident, and passionate. We are also proud to announce South Toms River Elementary School's Educational Services Professional of the Year, Mr. Anthony Despodo, who is one of our guidance counselors and has been in our district for 13 years. Anthony is a father figure to many of our students, resourceful, supportive, and empowering.
We are proud to announce Walnut Street Elementary School Teacher of the Year, Kim Schwanier, who teaches 5th grade and has been in our district for 6 years. Kim is an excellent educator and role model, inspiring and engaging. Walnut Street Elementary also has recognized Anthony Despodo. Both of his school communities have recognized him as the Educational Service Professional of the Year, which is quite an accomplishment. So congratulations, Anthony. Anthony Despodo, like I mentioned, is a guidance counselor, has been in our district for 13 years. Anthony is innovative, caring, and knowledgeable.
We are proud to announce Washington Street Elementary School's Teacher of the Year, Kathy Silvestri, who teaches first grade and has been in our district for 21 years. Kathy is innovative, resourceful, and collaborative. We are also proud to announce Washington Elementary's Educational Services Professional of the Year, Linda Pietro, who is a paraprofessional and has been in our district for 20 years. Linda is energetic, supportive, and dedicated.
We are proud to announce Westover's Teacher of the Year, Rebecca Kiratolo, who teaches second grade and has been in our district for 11 years. Rebecca is inspiring, caring, and dedicated. We are also proud to announce Westover's Educational Service Professional of the Year, Elise Longo, who is a paraprofessional, has been in our district for 10 years. Elise is kind, hardworking, and energetic.
We are proud to announce the Early Learning Center's Teacher of the Year, Karen Dalton, who teaches preschool supporting our autistic students and has been in our district for 12 years. Karen is described as dedicated, resilient, and nurturing. We are also proud to announce the Early Learning Center's Educational Services Professional of the Year, Kelly McNamara, who is an LDTC and case manager and has been in our district for 15 years. Kelly is committed, compassionate, and enthusiastic. On behalf of the Toms River School District and our Board of Education, we'd like to congratulate all of our staff on being awarded with these honors.
It's an honor, and congratulations to all of those teachers and educators. We are proud of them, and we are proud to work all of our teachers and educators do. Back to you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Mr. Gillanella. We'll move on to student representatives. Are they here tonight?
Yes, they're dropping in right now.
Okay. That was beautiful.
Yes,
It really was.
Well done.
Okay, I see Sarah. First, we'll have Sarah Pasqualetto, High School East Raiders. Good evening, Sarah.
Good evening. Since we last spoke, Toms River High School East has continued to show its Raider pride more than ever. I would like to begin by acknowledging our February Seniors of the Month, Brooke Jones and Anthony DiGeronimo. Brooke is one of the top 5 ranked students in our senior class, as well as being an active member in school clubs. He plans to attend York Science College and major in criminal profiling. Anthony is in the top 10% of his senior class and is always willing to put in a lot of effort and time into his studies to succeed. He aspires to attend a 4-year university and major in engineering. Congratulations to both Brooke and Anthony for being named our February Seniors of the Month. In addition to our Seniors of the Month, our school has begun to recognize seniors weekly. Special shout out to Nicholas Costa, Casey Bogue, and Michael Jacobus. Congratulations to the Employees of the Week, Mrs. Pagano, Mr. Scott Lindstrom, and Mrs. Sydney Holman for always coming to work with a smile and willingness to learn. We all appreciate the commitment you provide to East. Mrs. Michelle Schindler won our Staff 30-Day Challenge for the month of January. The activity was designed to bring a bit of positivity to your day by completing as many of the daily challenges to make you a happier educator. Mrs. Schindler completed a total of 26. Great job. Great shout out goes to Mr. Gary Stiles for his incredible service to our school community over a 30-year period of time. Mr. Stiles worked as our school security guard, supporting the safety of our morning and afternoon traffic flow. He prided himself on keeping kids safe and serving our parent population in the process. We are going to miss you, Mr. Stiles, and we all personally thank you for your commitment to the safety and well-being of our students, staff, and parents. We wish you health and happiness in retirement, and remember, once a Raider, always a Raider. Great job to Mr. Dirk for being recognized by his students for teaching them to overcome personal obstacles with a positive mindset. Mr. Dirk prides himself on developing personal relationships with his students. He is credited for shining a light during incredible darkness because he cares so much for others. He challenges his students to perform random acts of kindness, a staple in being a Raider. Thank you, Mr. Dirk, for always going above and beyond for your students. Shout out to the following STEAM students for their efforts for supporting the school's presentation to incoming students: Cole Passamonte, Aaron Boudry, Rebecca Coons, Alexander Brooks, Chris Matta, and Haley Mastedge. And congratulations to another STEAM student, Sophia Merlino, for being accepted into the W.E.B. Du Bois Scholars Institute at Princeton University. Sophia will be studying biomedical engineering through this program. Huge shout out to High School East role model Natalie Dudar as our school representative for the 35th annual National Girls and Women in Sports Day. Natalie is a member of our girls basketball team and assumes a leadership role as our team captain. Natalie is a well-respected student athlete that prides herself on doing her very best on and off the court, something we expect from all of our Raiders. Thank you, Natalie, for being a positive reflection for our school community and a role model for our young girls. Congratulations to all the accomplishments of the High School East cross-country runners, Shannon Stakelback and Madison Ninney. Shannon and Madison were recognized as the 2020 Shore Track Coaches Association Ocean County Sophomore and Freshman Runners of the Year, respectively. Great job, Shannon and Madison. And lastly, congratulations to John Malone for being recognized for a Raider Excellent Award this week. John is a member of our Autism Academy and wrote a well-articulated letter to President Biden asking him to do the best he could to keep America safe from the virus. Thanks, John, for being a positive reflection of our school community. Our school held the PSATs on January 26th, where our 10th and 11th graders got to show off their knowledge and power through that tough exam. East has been so great to the students as they held Chromebook distribution to each and every student. At East, we are currently celebrating our Month of Love that began this month. The objective is to acknowledge our staff for their incredible efforts to remain positive and committed to student success. Mrs. Casey Daniel is spearheading this initiative and has gathered donations from local organizations. We recognize the outstanding efforts of 3 staff members each day throughout the month of February with a prize. Some of the businesses and teachers that have been noticed so far are River Candle Company to Mrs. Dawn Alisi, Shaded Vision to Mr. Mike Alfieri, and Shaded Kids to Mr. Matt Chickalese, and Mathis House to Mr. Chris Paul Jimenez, as well as a $50 gift card to China to Mr. Phil Beachy. There has been an overwhelming amount of donations for the teachers who were noticed, and we thank you all. East has also kicked off its Decade Spirit Weeks. So far, we have hit up the 50s, 60s, 70s, and currently in the midst of our 80s week. And it's been such a rush of excitement to walk through the halls hearing trivia and music again. Our interested 8th grade applicants recently completed the OLSAT and performance assessment task to gain acceptance into our program for the 2021 to 22 school year. Our STEAM teachers are currently reviewing the applications and will be notifying students of their acceptance into the program this week. Our choral program held its first virtual concert ever, and it blew us all away. You can check it out on YouTube if you like. Our Eastside Theater Company recently held its auditions for the spring musical Godspell. Just this weekend, the cast list has been posted. Congratulations to all who made it, and the public can catch it live or virtually May 13th through the 16th. Go Drama Raiders! Our winter sports have begun and have been having such a successful and safe season. Despite everything going on, coaches and the players have created ways to make each game feel normal again. And our very cool skate club created their own logos and is selling t-shirts, coffee mugs, and other materials. As this month is Black History Month, our school has taken pride into educating our students with resources and links. And lastly, myself along with the other 3 class presidents have teamed up to spread positivity both in person and virtually. We decided to ask a question on our class Instagram pages daily. For instance, one of the days said, "Tell me someone who can light up a room anytime they walked in." And let me just say from personal experience, the response has been such a beautiful thing. Everybody is actively sending in responses, and people have actually told me that it has made their day entirely. With that being said, East will always remain a school of character. Being a Raider is something that we are all so proud of and forever will be proud of. Thank you all for listening, and I'm looking forward to hearing what Susanna and Kaylee have to say.
Thank you, Ms. Pasqualetto. That was very well done. Thank you. We'll move on to the representative for High School North Mariners, Kaylee Danielle.
Good evening. This month, I am proud to begin with a celebration of the accomplishments of two of our Mariner alumni. Congratulations to Maria Ressa, class of 1982, who was recently nominated for a 2021 Nobel Peace Prize for her investigative journalism work in the Philippines. Maria has previously been named the 2018 Person of the Year by Time magazine. Congratulations to Marissa Paolela, class of 2016, who was featured in an ad for Mercari Marketplace during last week's Super Bowl broadcast. Marissa, who is an inspiring actress, received her bachelor's degree from Clemson University in 2020. In current Mariner news, congratulations to authentic science research student Gabby Kubella, who was selected for the 2020-2021 Governor's STEM Scholars Program, which comprises the top 80 STEM students in New Jersey. Gabby was also selected by the Greater New York City chapter of Society for Neuroscience at Columbia University for their Bree New York Brunch Virtual Journal Club. Gabby presented hippocampal projections to the anterior olfactory nucleus differentially convey spatiotemporal information during episthetic odor memory. Her skill level and understanding of the article was so high that Alexandra Cohen, PhD, the director of the journal program, reached out to Gabby by email to praise her work. Gabby had not had any contact with her previously during the program and was working with a different mentor. Congratulations, Gabby. Congratulations to senior Michael Tresvalis, who has moved to the next round of the National Merit Scholarship Program. Michael has now been named a finalist. Only 15,000 of the millions of students who took the PSAT last year qualify as finalists. Approximately half of these students will be named as National Merit Scholarships. Winners will be notified in March. Congratulations to FBLA advisor Miss Jamie Toroso and the winners of this year's regional competitive events. We are extremely proud of the hard work and dedication of our FBLA chapter at High School North. Junior Ishan Shah, second place, Business Calculations. Junior Rutav Shah, first place, Computer Applications. Areen Kumar, third place, Computer Applications. Junior Jenna Bahardi, first place, Healthcare Administration. Sophomore Natalie Raspkej, seventh place, Intro to Event Planning. And Senior Alessandro DeLeo, fifth place, Networking Infrastructures. These students will move on to compete in the State Leadership Conference. Athletically, our teams are working through their seasons. All of our teams are working hard and experiencing success. Congratulations to senior Cole Schneider on reaching yet another milestone and one for the history books as he becomes the first hockey player for Toms River North to notch 200 career points. Cole is a threat every time he touches the ice, striking quickly and often. After 3 seasons, Cole produced 191 points. Cole has also scored 7 goals and posted 2 assists, setting a school record just 2 games into the season. As always, our athletes are happy to be playing during this difficult time. We are happy that our seniors are able to represent the blue and gold for one last winter season. Congratulations to our February staff member of the month, Mrs. Kate McGuckin. Known throughout our building as CAF, she has been teaching in the Toms River school system for 27 years. Her first 14 were at Intermediate East, and she's been a proud Mariner since 2008. CAF is obsessed with the 1980s and admits she never cooks. In her spare time, she enjoys her family, traveling, going to restaurants, her big dog, making people laugh, and wearing pearls and dresses to heavy metal concerts. Congratulations to our February Students of the Month, Morgan Keller and Gavin Redgrave. Morgan has been a 4-year varsity starter on our field hockey team. Over the last 2 seasons, she has served as one of the team's captains and has been twice named to the All-Division team. Morgan represents our school as Shore Conference Student Ambassador and has been inducted into the National Honor Society. She is a member of Roots and Shoots, team, and captain's crew. Outside of school, she volunteers at her church and performs in the bell choir. Academically, Morgan has achieved academic letters and high honor roll each year of her high school career. She will be continuing her academic and field hockey career at Fairleigh Dickinson University as a nursing major. Gavin is a member of our varsity football and track programs. He is involved as a youth instructor with his church and volunteers at the Fulfill Food Bank every Friday. In his spare time, Gavin coaches youth football flag each fall and spring. He is an Australian citizen and has lived there for a year when he was 12. This past summer, Gavin represented our school as a boy state delegate. Academically, he is an excellent student, achieving high honor roll every marking period throughout high school. Gavin is currently considering Penn State, the University of Delaware, New Jersey Institute of Technology, or Rowan University as a mechanical engineer major. I hope everyone has a great night and stays safe.
Thank you, Ms. Danielle. Very well spoken. Thank you. We'll move on to High School South Indian Representative Susanna Brown.
Good evening. This month has been filled with excitement at the home of the Indians. Starting off with our winter sports, our girls basketball team recently beat Bricktown 56-41. Kelly Anwander was the leading scorer with 29 points. The girls lacrosse team is preparing for their spring season, and the boys lacrosse team held an interest meeting on January 29th. The girls softball team is also gearing up for their spring season, inviting new players to join their Google Classroom for information. Our boys and girls swim teams are practicing for their upcoming seasons. The class of 2023 held a design contest for their class logo, which came to a close on the 14th. The winner will be announced soon. The class of 2023 also held a Buffalo Wild Wings fundraiser on the 5th, and the senior class held one this past Monday. The freshman class held a meeting on Thursday, January 28th. Our Spirit Club held 2 contests for Valentine's Day. One was a Find the Spirit Club Heart contest for cohort A and B students, and one was a Valentine Question of the Day contest for all students on their Instagrams. Congratulations to all the winners. The French National Honor Society held a meeting on February 2nd, and the French Club held a meeting on February 4th to discuss upcoming fundraisers. Rehearsal for the upcoming musical, Bright Star Concert Version, is in full swing. Some practices are virtual, while some are in person. We cannot wait to see the production when it is streamed at the end of April. Congratulations to our seniors of the month, Gennaro Ferrigno, Rebecca Grunin, and Gigi Pucci. They all worked very hard and we're so proud of them. And finally, we would like to give a special thanks to the incredibly talented sophomore, Jack Harges, for his special arrangement, which was featured on the district website, We Are TR. Great job.
Thank you, Ms. Brown. Very well said. I forgot to do this last week, so I'm going to say it now. So don't forget, you girls are excused if you like. Thank you very much for your participation. Thank you. We have student staff awards that's going to be presented by Ms. DeMayo and Mr. Fosnack.
Thank you. Tonight, we are going to recognize 2 students, one from High School East and one from High School South. Jackson Soul and Jimmy Brearley both began their participation in scouting early in elementary school, learning a variety of skills and growing as leaders along their journeys to Eagle. Recently, while juggling work, playing sports, and learning how to excel as an online student in an online environment, both young men have stayed focused and made time to make a positive impact on their community with their projects. I'd like to turn it over to Mr. Thomas, who will say a little bit more about Jackson Soul.
Okay, good evening, everybody. I'm Pat Thomas. I'm building principal at Toms River High School East, and tonight we take great pride in recognizing Raider excellence, which we define as doing your best every day with integrity. Tonight we're recognizing senior Jackson Soul, who recently earned his Eagle Scout badge for his commitment to improve his community through positive behavior. Jackson has been a member of his Boy Scout Troop 20 since the elementary school. Jackson is viewed within our community as a true patriot, and he has great respect for the United States and our flag. As a scout within his troop, Jackson has participated in many service projects that benefit the community, as well as the AJ Weeks VFW Post 6063 chartering organization. Projects such as placing flags on veteran graves and flag retirement ceremonies were his inspiration for his final project. Jackson organized and led a team of scouts to construct and paint not one, but 2 large collection boxes for retired flags. The VFW was proud to put the new boxes at their building for members of their community to deposit old, tattered flags. The flags were then ceremoniously retired by members of his Boy Scout troop. So on behalf of the entire East community, I would like to congratulate Jackson for his Eagle Scout achievement and for representing our East community with pride. Congratulations, Jackson, for your board recognition this evening. Jackson, at this time, I know if you can put your picture on, and I know you have a few words to say to thank the board. There he is.
Hi, I would just like to thank everyone who's on the board and
thank High School East and thank the VFW. It was really great, and I really enjoyed my time with Scouts, and I really enjoyed the school. And thank you very much for this.
Thank you.
And now we'd like to turn it over to Mr. Sitta, who will say a couple of words about Jimmy Brearley.
Thank you and good evening, everybody. And thank you to the Board of Education for allowing us to recognize James Brearley, who compassionately, in his quest to become an Eagle Scout through this so amazing year, in pandemic year, it's quite an accomplishment, makes this accomplishment even more remarkable, the fact that he could do it in such a feat with all the restrictions that he has. Showing compassion, James has chose a quest to make his Eagle Scout on the homeless. James is a sophomore at Toms River South. He's an upstanding member of the Toms River community whose compassion for those less fortunate was a driving force towards his project. While attending a Toms River Township Council meeting, Jimmy was moved to learn the large homeless population in our community and was inspired by the passing of the Code Blue policy. His project collected and sorted toiletries, socks, hats, blankets, and he led a team of scouts to assemble supplies into 200 bags, which were then delivered to the warming center at Riverwood Park. Through the Just Believe outreach program, the bags are now distributed to those in need when they arrive at the shelter. We're extremely proud of James. And James, if you want to turn on your camera so you can get the proper recognition for your efforts, very Indianific. We're very proud of you. Congratulations, James.
I'd like to thank the board. I appreciate you acknowledging me. I'd like to thank everyone at Toms River South. It's a wonderful community and great school, and I wouldn't be able to complete my project without the outpouring of support from my peers. I'd like to thank my parents and my family, and I'd like to thank the community. You know, it would not be possible without the wonderful town I have and the support from the town that I was fortunate to have.
Congratulations, James.
Congratulations to both of you young men on this recognition, and thank you for your dedication and service to the community.
Okay, as I mentioned, we have our committee reports, which could be found on the Toms River School website. And we're going to open up to inquiries from guests and press, limited to 3 minutes as per board policy 0167. I have to mention that members of the public are invited to comment on agenda action items only during this public comment portion of the meeting. And each speaker's comments will be limited to 3 minutes in duration, and this public session will be limited to a total of 30 minutes. The board, pursuant to the Open Public Meetings Act, will not publicly discuss personnel matters. All statements, comments, and questions shall be directed to the presiding officer. No participant may address or question individual board members, administrators, or staff. The board will give all comments appropriate consideration. Board members and employees retain the right and privacy and are protected against defamation and slander according to the laws of New Jersey. When you call in, please state your name and address for the record. Thank you.
It's up to you.
Hello, and thank you for calling in to the Toms River Board of Education meeting. Please state your name and address for the record, please.
My name is Kristen Vanderhook, and I am a teacher for the Toms River Regional School District.
Okay, can you repeat that? You broke up a little bit.
I am Kristen Vanderhook, and I am a teacher for the Toms River Regional School District.
And your address, Kristen?
1875 Carlton Circle.
Thank you so much. How can we help you?
I just have a statement that I would like to read.
Sure.
Like 1 in 4 teachers in America, I unfortunately have multiple comorbidities that put me at risk for severe COVID disease. While I may certainly qualify for medical accommodation, I chose not to recover. As I always do when presented with a decision, I weighed the risks and benefits. In September, the positivity rates were fairly low. We were only being asked to teach from an empty classroom. Social distancing was typically practiced. I felt fairly safe and did what was asked of me. In October, you announced a hybrid plan. I agreed kids needed to have some semblance of regular school and was assured we would be able to mitigate risk of infection by following CDC guidance on social distancing. Having only 13 or 14 of 27 students in my room at a time, so much more challenging as a teacher to mitigate the risk of infection. The weather was getting cooler, masks would be more comfortable. We had not received any COVID notifications at this point, and I again weighed the pros and cons and deemed the The decision to further reopen made sense. As predicted, things took a turn for the worse as winter arrived. We frequently received COVID notifications. Local positivity rates skyrocketed and surged after the holidays. Classes, schools, and even the entire district were forced to go fully remote. I personally knew many teachers who had been infected, some even bringing it home to their families. I continued to assess my risk and deemed it reasonable. Social distancing and masks, the only tools we have at our disposal, were feasible. My anxiety and that of my fellow teachers understandably rose, but again, we continued to do what was asked of us. And now you are asking more, and I don't understand your reasoning. I never thought I would be asked to put my life at greater risk, but here we are. As was mentioned at the start of the meeting tonight, the most recent CDC guidance released on Friday states that the 6-foot standard for social distancing should be considered, quote, non-negotiable for K-12 schools where the transmission rate is substantial. As you are aware, despite a slight downtick in cases following the post-holiday surge, Ocean County remains at critical risk for COVID outbreaks as it is experiencing a daily of new cases. I never imagined, as an educator, I would be asked to deny guidance based on science or to consider 45% compliance passing. We get it, guidelines are not law. The guidelines, however, were designed to save life, not when only quote practicable for 45% of the time, not when the benefit of doctors are not proven. When did you decide you knew better than the CDC? I get it. Kids need to be back in school. Parents need kids to be back in school. We all want things to be back to normal. But things aren't normal for anyone. We are all doing the best we can. And we are on the verge of better days as more vaccines become available that will allow us, once again, to gather safely as we all so badly. But we aren't there yet. So my question is, why now? Why, when the risk of infection is greater than it has been this entire pandemic? Why, when new variants of this virus that are much more contagious have been discovered in neighboring areas? Why, when we are on the verge of being vaccinated, but have not all been able to yet do so? When did an additional 8 hours a week for 3 months of being in a building that does not come close to resembling what a school is supposed to be become the acceptable place for a teacher's life? We hear your kind words spoken at board meetings and read your letters of support. This decision, which was made without asking for the input of staff, tells me how much you actually value these same teachers just to do these things. Please don't get my statements confused. This is not a case of teachers being lazy or not wanting to do their job. Having a full in-person class is far easier than remembering who's in person, who's online, who needs what on which day. We are going to school every day anyway. And teaching a full class in person is what we are trained to do. This is about risk and reward, and it just doesn't make sense. So again, what is the reward that makes it worth it now? Why, when the risk of infection is greater than it has been this entire pandemic? We get it, guidelines are not law. The guidelines are not law. We get it, 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 gui Why is March 1st the day you ignore guidance from experts and decide our lives are worth putting in harm's way?
Mrs. Vanderbilt. Mrs. Vanderbilt.
Yeah.
I appreciate what you said. Believe me, it didn't fall on deaf ears. I think there's a little more to it that maybe Mr. Gillinella would like to share with you, is how we came to this determination.
Yes, I'd appreciate that.
Well, sure. And I'll repeat a lot of the things that we've talked about already. Why March 1st? Well, why any date? I think, again, the numbers have come down. The infection rate seems to be on a downward trend. Most of the research, if I can talk, most of the research shows that there is not transmission in schools. We understand that 6 feet is going to be difficult in some of our classes. We're mitigating that with some other barriers and face shields and different things we're offering our teachers. We've gone extensively to talk to teachers, try to about their fears, about their concerns, and try to address those the best we can. I would disagree with you and say there's no input from staff. The TREA has been involved in this, and I didn't ask them for approval, but they've been involved in developing this plan, and we spoke to them at length about the plan and asking for their concerns so we can try to address them. Again, we are flexible with this. We are looking at the numbers. I understand that with the new variants, there could be an uptick that was predicted by some people and not predicted by others, but we're going to take a look at the numbers and continue to look at them, and again, pivot on short notice if we have to.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for calling in. Good evening, and thank you for calling into the meeting of the Toms River Board of Ed. For the record, please state your name and address.
My name is Nancy Scollin, 1833 Greenwood Road.
Thank you, Ms. Scollin. How can we help you?
Good evening. As a parent and employee of the Toms River Regional Schools, I felt compelled to call in tonight to share my concerns about the changes being planned for March 1st. While I'm eager for a return to normalcy, I'm very troubled by the timing of these changes. As stated in the letter we received last week, social distancing of students and staff will no longer be possible in the majority of our classrooms. So my questions for all of you would be, when will barriers be installed? What will they be made of? And can you provide proof of the efficacy in preventing the spread of COVID-19 with these barriers? How can we safely provide snack and mask breaks for our students, since we can no longer allow for social distancing in our classrooms? And finally, with transmission rates still extremely high, as well as new strains of the virus present in Ocean County, how has the board decided that we no longer need to follow the CDC guidelines here in Toms River? Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mrs. Collins. Appreciate you calling in.
I'm going to ask Mr. Ricotta to talk a little bit about the mitigating circumstances or the efforts that we put in there, because that was really a point or part of the question.
If we talk, maybe because we've spoken at the beginning.
We did speak about it at curriculum.
I spoke about it.
Should I put it up for you?
You're going to answer them one way or another.
Thank you so much.
Hello, and thank you for calling into the Board of Ed. Please state your name and address for the record, please.
A little bit about the mitigating
My name is Catherine Tidwell. I am an employer of Toms River Regional Schools, and I live at 197 Brennan Concourse in Bayville, New Jersey.
Thank you, Mr. Well, and how can we help you?
I'm just curious about the barriers that the previous caller mentioned. I'm not 100% sure what they're made of. And also, has there been any kind of accommodations made for the difference between elementary school children and high school children? Elementary school children obviously are much shorter than high school children. And so if we are putting some sort of plexiglass shields up or some sort of other shields up, is it a one-size-fits-all? type of scenario, or what is happening?
All right, Mr. Well, I'm going to move this question over to Mr. Ricotta,
Yes.
and Mr. Ricotta can answer that, and also Mrs. Collins' question too. Thank you.
Sure. So, Ms. Tidwell, we reached out to neighboring school districts who ordered barriers, and we asked them for feedback on different ones that were within our New Jersey co-op that we could work closely with in order, and also get in a timely manner for the anticipated March 1st opening, because, some of the providers will gladly take our order, but they cannot guarantee that delivery. So we looked closely at that, and speaking to our neighboring districts, many of them were ordering them. They made of Lexan or a plexiglass material, and they sit on the desktop. And the problem with that is when they fall over and hit the floor, they shatter, and then they have to be thrown away because they become dangerous. So we did speak to some neighboring districts who were working with different ones that have a corrugated type of corners on them with 3 panels, one in the front and then on the left and right, and they sit on the desk, and they are stating that they are good for all ages at the different levels, elementary through secondary. Now, of course, it's not one size fits all because some students are taller than others. So we did look into purchasing some that were taller for instances where we need them. But for the most part, these are barriers that can be cleaned using the Alpha HP solution in foggers that the district has purchased, and that is a hospital-grade disinfectant, and that's how they're cleaned at the end of the day. And we've been telling teachers, because some have contacted us with concerns, are they expected to clean these? And the answer is no. Teachers are not expected to clean them. They are not touch points. They're not tabletops or handrails that have to be cleaned after each touch. They're more like a wall or a window, so they're to be left. And we're going to encourage the students not to touch them. They just leave them, and they can use the wipes around them on the desktops.
Okay, I just want to clarify, Mr. Ricotta. So the front portion will be something that they can see through, correct?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Mr. Well. Hope we answered your questions for you.
You did. Thank you.
Thank you.
To clean them, they are not touch points. They're not tabletop or handrails that have to be cleaned after each touch. They're more like a wall.
Hello?
Tell them to turn it down. Jeff.
You're going to have to turn down your volume on your phone there. Thank you for calling the Toms River Board of Ed meeting. Please state your name and address for the record, please.
Okay, I just want to clarify, Mr. Ricotta. So the front portion will be something that they can see through, correct?
Can the caller please turn down the YouTube feed? Thank you.
Hello, my name is Dr. Andrew Gilman. I live at 816 Waters Edge Drive, Toms River. I'm a teacher at High School North. I also don't agree with this plan. I don't understand what the board doesn't seem to understand about the fact that we need to put life ahead of all other concerns. You know, nobody likes the virtual teaching situation. Everybody agrees it's far from optimum, but it's far preferable to putting people's lives in danger. 1 in 700 Americans have now died from this virus. If you had those kind of odds for winning the Mega Millions lottery, you'd be pulling out all sorts of money, laying bets down on the Mega Millions lottery. 1 in 700 have now died. I looked at the CDC data for Ocean County for the second week of February. New cases for the week are the second highest category of 1,000 to 5,000. The 7-day average for percent positivity is a whopping 11.69, and the incident rate is the third highest category of 200 to 499 for every 100,000 people. So per the CDC guidelines, we shouldn't be even hybrid. We should be all virtual at the moment. So why are we trying to open up? I don't understand this plan whatsoever. I also want to know if board members are going to come and sit in overcrowded classrooms with us every day and share the risk with us. Okay? It's easy to implement plans, but you don't have to go ahead and live with the ramifications.
All right, Dr. Gilman, thank you for your information here. I appreciate it. Hello?
Yes.
Okay, I said thank you very much for your information. Do you have anything else for us to say to us?
Once again, I'll bring up the new variants again. Okay, it seems to me as we're really on the cusp of really finally getting this thing under control. You keep on talking about the fact that numbers are coming down. Yeah, but they're coming down from astronomical heights. I mean, our numbers are still higher than or about as high as they were at the peak back in April. So when you talk about them coming down, it's kind of misleading because the numbers are still very, very high. So I don't understand this when we could probably delay the opening a little bit longer, give a little bit more time for the vaccinations to proliferate to the point where, there's a lot more protection out there and we feel more comfortable. And I also feel like you're ignoring the stress that teachers are under. I mean, I'll speak for myself, but I'm scared to death coming into school right now every single day, much less being faced with a full classroom.
We all understand, Mr. Gilman. We do. We all understand. And as Mr. Gillinella had said earlier, this can pivot at any time. We're watching the numbers. We have a target date for March 1st. And if the numbers keep coming down, hopefully they're going to nosedive. I really mean that. I mean, nobody wants to put anyone, I promise you, no one wants to put anyone in harm's way, ever, 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 ever. A student, a teacher, anyone. It's not our mission. Hopefully the numbers will take a nosedive, and March 1st will be will work. Like Mr. Gillinella said, this can pivot at any time.
Just to provide an alternate idea, it seems to me that if we waited till the end of spring break, now I know the elementary schools are opening at a different time and earlier, but for the high schools, we're scheduled to open up March 15th. If we wait till the end of spring break, we're only delaying less than 3 weeks of actual school time, actually only another 12 days of hybrid teaching would we be, incurring, and then add on the extra week and a half of spring break. That would put things back a whole month. And that whole month right now can make a world of difference given the fact that the vaccine production is finally ramping up. We're finally getting more vaccine out there. And that month could be critical to actually stopping the spread before the new variants take hold and send us back into another wave.
Thank you. I don't know what else to tell you. I mean, there's two ways of looking at that, and I understand what you said. It makes perfect sense. But another way, somebody's going to come call up and say, well, if you wait after spring break, all these kids are going to be out. They're going to go to Florida. They're going to go down the islands, this and that. They may come back with something. There's two ways of looking at it. And I'm not saying you're wrong. I don't know if there's a right answer here. This is a terrible thing. No question about it. I had COVID. I was in the hospital with it. It's terrible.
I'm sorry to hear that. I'm sorry to hear that. I know I'm definitely afraid of catching it. The last comment I'll make is this. I don't understand what everybody thinks is going to be so wonderful about bringing kids in and encasing them in plastic to sit in a classroom that's overcrowded, and how anybody thinks that that's going to come even close to actual social emotional learning and providing these kids the benefit of actually being in school in person. It seems to me that that might scare the hell out of them more than actually make them feel safe.
Does anyone have any comments for Mr. Gilman? Or?
Let me just say that, Dr. Gilman, we understand your concerns and clearly hear you. An alternate date we can consider that. Again, looking at the numbers and pivoting to a later date is something that we could consider for the high schools. Understand that we don't expect that you're going to have a full class. When signups and we ask parents to decide if they want to go remote or not, less than half the high school students are choosing in-person learning. That's really just like if everybody came on a hybrid schedule. So the high schools and the intermediate schools are a little bit higher, the elementaries are a little bit higher, but the high school is running no more than half. So the idea that you're going to have a full class probably is not going to happen. We'll be lucky if we get a half a class in there.
I can only hope so. I feel like we're on the verge of actually conquering this thing, and opening everything up is just, contrary to trying to finally defeat this so we can finally get back to normal. So I thank you for listening. I appreciate the time.
Dr. Gilman, thank you for your comments. It didn't fall on deaf ears. We appreciate it.
All right, thank you.
Okay. Anyone else calling in, please be mindful that a lot of questions were asked. I'm not asking you not to call in, but just be mindful that they were asked. And we have a 30-minute window for this. And especially, they're not agenda items. This is supposed to be towards the end of the meeting, but we let it go. We didn't think we were going to have this many calls. Good evening, and thank you for calling in to the Board of Ed. Please state your name and address for the record.
My name is John Becker, and my address is 112 Holly Street in Toms River.
Good evening, Mr. Becker. How can we help you?
Hi, I actually have a question about the agenda. I have a question about number 12 on the agenda, the approval for the resolution requesting Governor Murphy. Now, is that just to request that Governor Murphy moves teaching staff up into a higher level so that we are approved for the vaccinations at an earlier date?
Mr. Becker?
Yes.
I will be happy to address this. So the resolution is asking that teacher vaccinations be prioritized. The board feels very strongly that any teacher who wants a vaccination should have access to one immediately. So that is what it is. We're asking the governor to prioritize teacher vaccinations and to make sure that there is a supply available for all of you. And I hope that addresses your...
Yeah, no, that did. I just had another question concerning that, if I may. I know at the last, I believe it was committee meetings, Mr. Gianella had talked about talking with the Ocean County Health Department to try to work out something for teacher vaccinations. I believe I read today, I believe that Freehold Regional School District did some type of deal with some Monmouth County sites to do that. I just wanted to know, is that still a priority, or is there a status update on that? I know you literally were just talking about it a week or two ago, but I just wanted to see how that was coming along.
Good question, Mr. Becker. The Freehold Regional District has a relationship because of their medical academy with Center State Hospital.
Okay.
They petitioned Center State Hospital to have not their teachers, not the teachers in general, but teachers that have some type of extenuating circumstances where they fit under the governor's guidelines that they are eligible to be vaccinated.
Okay.
They worked with Center State, and Center State accepted those people and have vaccinated probably most of them. We have reached out to the Ocean County Health Department a number of times and talking to them about doing something special for the Toms River teachers once teachers are eligible. They have agreed. We're working with our partnership, which has the ability to vaccinate, to set up a separate day and time for teachers to get that vaccine once the vaccine becomes available. But let me just emphasize that teachers, like anybody else who have extenuating circumstances, an underlying condition that makes them eligible, can go and get vaccinated now. Now, we've reached out to the local hospital to see if we can have some type of arrangement. We don't have the same relationship with community that Freehold has with Center State because we don't run a program, but I think we're reaching out to them to see if we can get some opportunities for our medically compromised teachers to go there and get vaccinated rather than go through the traditional line, because even medically compromised people are having difficulty getting the vaccine. So we are taking those similar steps with the hospital and with the health department. By the way, the health department has been very cooperative with us. But again, we need the vaccines. And that's why I think that resolution that you asked about earlier is so important, that the governor puts teachers on the list so we can proceed, like I have mentioned, and get our teachers vaccinated as soon as possible.
Well, thank you for that. I agree 100% about everything that you said, especially about the governor's resolution. I think the vaccinations, for those who want it, will go a long way to alleviating a lot of the legitimate fears that the staff has about returning, and we can get the kids back. So I appreciate that and appreciate your time. Thank you very much, everybody.
Thank you, Mr. Becker.
Thank you, Mr.
Have a good evening.
You too.
Good evening, and thank you for calling into the Board of Ed. Please state your name and address for the record.
Hi, Elisa Waller, art teacher in the district, 2081 Crestwood Drive.
Thank you, Mrs. Weller. How can we help you?
Hi, I believe this would be agenda item number 9 in reference to building and grounds. Can I ask a question about that?
Sure.
I'm just curious, when the grounds people come around to do lawn care, is there a possibility that they would be able to do that before school starts or after it ends? And I specifically mention it because back in September, when we came back to virtual, it was 8 o'clock and we were all going virtual, and the teachers were all in the building, of course, as you know, students were home. 8:02, the lawnmower man came around and started mowing the lawn, and the windows are open, there's debris flying, and with students in the building, I think the risks are also with fumes and the noise. It just disrupts the whole process of learning, and I'm wondering if we can do something about that.
That's a good point. It's a good point.
And that's my question.
Well,
thank you. I kind of chuckle because I think I've heard this question in every district I've been in. And should we try to get around when teachers are teaching and having the windows open and taking care of the maintenance outside the building? Sure, we should. Unfortunately, though, our maintenance teams and our people who cut lawns were working probably similar hours that the kids are in the building. I don't know if Mr. Ricotta, you can give any guidance on that besides that, but I know this is a constant issue in every district.
It is, and Mrs. Waller, I'm going to reach out to our maintenance and our grounds crew and ask them to work away from the building and do the fields while school's in session, and then once school is not in session, they can move closer when students and teachers are not there with open windows and do the areas closer to the buildings.
I'd appreciate any looking into that because it would really make a difference. And I think also that we can do it during testing season. It just proves that we can do that for our students and our teachers to have better sense of sanity. So thanks for the consideration.
Mrs. Weller, thank you for calling in and for that suggestion. Appreciate it. Have a good
All
night.
right, bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Good evening, and thank you for calling into the Toms River Board of Ed. Please state your name and address for the record.
Regina Ferrangi, 63 Main Street.
Mrs. Regina, can you repeat your last name, please?
I'm sorry, I have my phone on speaker. I'm trying to get it off. Hello? Hello?
Yes, I'm still here. Just repeat your last name, please.
Alrighty.
Can you spell it, please?
EHELANEY.
That's perfect. Thank you very much. You live on Main Street, right?
Yep.
Okay, how can we help you?
I'm just wondering what the decision process was for canceling school tomorrow for in-person instruction when there's absolutely no inclement weather going on.
If I could, Mr. President.
Yes.
As I mentioned earlier, and it's pretty universal that the forecast is for snow all day tomorrow, beginning anywhere between 6 and 8 o'clock. And I've watched the weather more than I want to over the past day and communicated with a lot of different districts and people around. And I looked at the NOAA site, I looked at the Weather Channel site, I heard the local stations. There's a unanimous prediction that there's going to be some extensive snow tomorrow, beginning between 6 and 8 and lasting all day. We might, if it came in late, have a safe entry. We would have a very difficult time having a safe exit from the school, and that's why we went virtual.
Okay, but I mean, last time it snowed, you guys did wait until the morning call, which was completely acceptable and it was totally justified. But I feel like it's just, right now, it's still using virtual as an excuse. These kids have 2 days in school at this point, and our kids' mental health is suffering greatly, as well as some of our special ed students who I'm a parent of. They're regressing a lot, and in-person really helps them. I just want to know, why virtual is becoming basically a crutch.
No, I don't think it's a crutch. I think we have some different weather than we've had the last few years this winter. I was at a meeting today. Somebody asked me, for the last 2 years, nobody's had a snow day, and all of a sudden now we have 5. And thankfully, we have virtual, or we'd be going 5 extra days in June. But the reason I called it early, because I believe parents would like to hear this information early rather than later so they can prepare. The last thing I think parents want is to get a call at 5 o'clock and saying, guess what? Your kids are going to be home all day. It's bad enough,
But
I'm telling them.
parents are also struggling, working parents are also struggling to, make arrangements. And for a day that possibly there is no snow, because there possibly be anything tomorrow, between earthquake tomorrow, anything tomorrow.
Well, I think when you see such a unanimous verdict on the predictions, I think it's a pretty easy call. And I think I don't know of a district in Ocean County that has not gone either remote or a snow day.
Okay, well, that's because remote is a crutch.
Thank you very much. Have a good evening. Good evening, and thank you for calling into the Toms River Board of Ed. Please state your name and address.
Hi, my name is Felisa Velasquez, and I'm at 1924 Vermont Avenue, Toms River.
How can we help you?
Hi, I do have a question. My children go to intermediate and both elementary schools in Toms River, and my concern is the opening for half days starting March 1st. I don't understand if the CDC is requiring the 6 feet social distance, and as you know, we have a lot of students. How is that going to be able to be implemented when it said in your letter that it might not be a possibility? I was listening to what you were saying and some of the concerns the teachers had, and the one teacher especially was talking about the high school, and they said, you guys have mentioned that only half the students are going back, but what about the middle schools? What about the elementary schools? As you stated, there's more kids going back. These kids do take their masks off to have a snack, in the elementary school, and how are they supposed to do that without social distancing? I mean, I don't know if there's I am all for them going back to school, and I can't wait until it gets back to normal, but I feel like that's going to just set us back more. Is there any other way to maybe go to full days and keep the cohorts instead of 4 half days, so eliminate, a whole classroom full of children?
Well, first of all, the CDC has a guideline, not a regulation. So they really have no jurisdiction over public schools in New Jersey. As I stated earlier, we're under the auspices or under the direction of the Department of Education and the Department of Health of New Jersey. We're waiting for them to update their guidelines. If they're going to update their guidelines, they usually do come out with something different. We're just waiting to see that. And you're right, more elementary students we predict will come back a little bit less than and less intermediate schools and then less high school students. How we're going to socially distance, we've said in half of our elementary school classrooms, we will not be able to properly 6 feet socially distance. That's why we have purchased the barriers, so students can have a snack with a barrier between them and provide a safe environment for them. So we are addressing those things. Again, we're flexible. We're looking at the numbers constantly, and if things don't go as we're hoping, then we could certainly turn back and go back into a more hybrid schedule.
Because every week I get letters from emails from the schools that there's been positive cases. There hasn't been 1 week, I think, that I haven't gotten one. You know, and that's concerning to me if we're putting all these children back together. And what about on the school buses? They're all going to be sitting and squashed next to each other, you know, if they take school buses. I mean, and doesn't the particles fly in the air, not just on the little barrier? I mean, I'm not sure I'm comfortable with this yet.
Well, remember, you have the option to go stay remote or go all remote. That's what parents have, that option. That's a requirement by the state, but we agree with that. And if you're not comfortable, you can choose that remote option.
Yeah, that remote option, but it's good for the children to go to school. But listen, I don't want them to not go to school, but I just feel like there needs to be like a safer way. You know, I feel like the socialization and everything, the kids do need that. They need to be in class to learn better and everything. But at the same time, I feel it needs to be done a little bit better than pushing them all together for 4 half days. I don't know if there is a way the cohort A goes 1 week half days for 4 days, and then the cohort B goes the following week for 4 half days, just to kind of keep the numbers lower in the classrooms, just to get us through and, you know, try to make it a little bit easier on everyone, the parents, the teachers, the children. You know, we're all concerned about everyone.
And that we are. We're very concerned about everyone. And with the resources we have, I can promise you we are doing the very best we can. You know, if something comes up where we can change things or do things a little different, that's beneficial to everyone, I'm sure you'll be hearing about it. We'll move on that. And thank you for calling in.
Thank you.
Bye-bye. Good evening, and thank you for calling in to the Toms River Board of Ed. Please state your name and address for the record.
Yeah, my name is Eric Grunner. I'm at 1444 Neptune Avenue in Beechwood.
Yes, Mr. Gruner, how can we help you?
Yeah, I don't oppose bringing students back into our schools, but I have reservations about how it's being done. I propose that we establish a committee composed of staff members, central administration, building administration, Board of Education, and parents, so that we can ensure legitimate and unanswered concerns for the safety of our staff and our students and can be thoroughly examined. In the superintendent's opening statement, he assured us that he's going to be flexible in his planning. A committee, as described, would be a good demonstration of that flexibility. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Bruner. Have a good evening. Good evening, and thank you for calling into the Toms River Board of Ed. Please state your name and address for the record.
We are doing the very best we can.
Hello, can you lower your volume down on your YouTube?
Or do things a little different. That's beneficial to everyone. I'm sure you'll be hearing about it. We'll move on that. And thank you for calling in.
Hello. Hello, and thank you for calling in the Toms River Board of Ed. Please state your name and address for the record. That's it? Okay. Now we will have Mr. Leone do a presentation to the board members on the Code of Ethics. The time now is
President.
8:54.
As you know, annually, the district must provide a ethics and training, in addition to the training done by New Jersey School Boards Association. So we have tonight prepared such a training program. You've all been very kind to answer the conflicts issues, which we have, and we published that summary. After tonight's training session, you'll be asked to sign a document saying you've attended the session and you've understood the content. So I'm going to turn it over to my associate, Danielle Rosica, who has prepared the presentation for this evening. Rosica, are you there? There you are. Okay.
Yes, I am. All right, I'm just going to share my screen so I can put the ethics presentation up. All right, good evening. Yes, it is that time again, the much anticipated ethics training presentation. I promise I will try to make this as painless as possible. First off, this presentation is being given as an aid in satisfying the board's ethics training requirement. This presentation does not replace your individual ethics training. I also believe Helena has distributed a form that all board members must sign, acknowledging that they have received a copy of the Code of Ethics. So please sign those forms and return them back to Helena. So what we are going over today is the Code of Ethics for school board members. The Code of Ethics has two main parts. The first part is the Code of Ethics, and the second part is the conflict of interest provisions. What I'm going to do first is to go over the Code of Ethics part, and that is found in NJSA 18A:12-24.1. So what is the Code of Ethics? It has 10 subsections, A through J. In essence, this statute is a guideline that defines your responsibility as board members. It defines your role within the Toms River School District and addresses the limitations of your actions as a board member. Instead of just reading through these subsections, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put them up on the screen and translate the most important parts from legalese to English. So, the first subsections that we have is subsection A and subsection B. Subsection A is pretty basic. It is basically you are going to do the right thing the right way. Subsection B defines a board member's most important responsibility. That responsibility is to work within their communities to improve student achievement in the Toms River School District. establishes policies for the district, and the superintendent carries out the policy and manages the day-to-day operation. Which brings us to subsection E and subsection F. Subsection E has two parts. So it says, I will recognize that authority rests with the Board of Education and will make no personal promises nor take any private action that may compromise the board. The first part is reminding board members that authority comes from the board as a whole. A single board member has no power to act alone. Authority rests in the board as a whole and only when it is meeting in a legally convened session. Ethical issues concerning a board member's authority often come up when a board member makes public statements. As a board member, you wear at least two hats. Your hat as a board member and your hat as a private citizen. Board members do retain the right of free speech, and it can express personal views. Board members, however, do not have the authority to speak on behalf of the board without the board's authorization. Where this comes up most often is in the context of board members using social media. A lot of ethical opinions have discussed the ethical implications of when board members use social media to discuss topics relating to their role as a board member. It can be extremely difficult to separate personal views and the views of the school district when a board member posts topics relating to issues facing the district. So it's important to remember board members can discuss issues facing the district on social media, but they need to be careful whose opinion they are expressing. Any post or public statement should make it clear that they are expressing their personal views and not the view of the board. Nothing in the Act prohibits a board member from publicly describing the discussion or action that took place during an open portion of a public board meeting. However, an individual board meeting notes do not carry the same weight as an official summary of the board discussion or action. Only board-adopted minutes are the official record of a school board meeting. So if you are posting on social media and you're attempting to restate what happened at a previous board meeting, it should be clear that your post is not an official record of the board meeting and only information from the open portions of the meeting can be shared. The second part of subsection E is private action that compromises the board. Where this comes up most often is again in the context of social media. Board members have free speech, but they are being held to a higher standard. You are a role model for the district. Because of this, what you post in your private life can reflect poorly on the district and compromise the board. The content is what matters. Posting on social media can have several implications depending on the content. It can rise to the level of an ethical violation of the School Ethics Act. It can undermine the trust and confidence of the public. So even if a comment doesn't rise to the level of an ethical violation, it could create a justifiable impression among the public that the public trust is being violated. It can also interfere with the administration of the school. It can call into question the validity of the board's action. And it also, most importantly, can be used to exclude an individual board member from voting on an issue due to an actual or perceived bias. And there's an advisory opinion on that if anyone's interested in reading that. It can also lead to legal action, for instance, a claim for defamation. So, subsection F. Pretty straightforward. I will refuse to surrender my independent judgment to special interests or partisan groups, political groups, or the use of the schools for personal gain or the gain of friends. This is pretty self-explanatory. Your role as a board member is not to advance your own agenda, a particular group's agenda, or a political party's agenda. Your role is to improve student achievement in the Toms River School District, as we covered in subsection B, and you do that through developing policy, which we addressed in subsection C. So, which brings us to subsection G and H, confidentiality. As a board member, you are supposed to hold certain things confidential. So what is confidential? Matters involving individual students, including disciplinary measures, almost all personnel matters involving district employees, including performance evaluations, matters involving labor negotiations, matters involving pending litigation, and everything discussed in executive session should be kept confidential by individual board members. Violations of confidentiality can lead to sanctions against the board member, including removal from the board. It compromises the integrity of the board, exposes the board to liability, undermines the school district and administration of the board, distracts the board from its focus of developing policy that promotes the educational welfare of the children, and it distracts staff and administration from administering the school. And it also goes without saying, these things also contribute to unnecessary costs for the district. And it stifles board discussion in executive session, because if board members think what they say is going to be spread around on either social media or to other family members or other people in a certain community, they're more likely not to express their opinions, and you're not going to have an open executive session. Again, where to be extra careful of this is on social media. So be careful that you do not post anything on social media that shouldn't be disclosed to the public or that was discussed in executive session. Section H, subsection H, is hiring. So hiring personnel involves the superintendent and the board. However, this provision is a provision that makes clear the board's role, and the board's role is limited. It takes board action to form a contract with an employee, but the board doesn't interview or select potential employees, with the exception of the superintendent candidates. Board members rely on the superintendent and principals to select from among applicants and recommend the employees to the board. The board then makes the legal decision, officially approving decisions made by the principals and the superintendent. Pretty straightforward. Subsection I and J. Support and protect school personnel in proper performance of their duties. One of the most important roles as board members is to be an advocate for your school system. Board members should treat all staff, administrators, the superintendent, and fellow board members with respect at all times. The actions of school board and school personnel should provide the public with confidence that the district is being run professionally and in a manner that is consistent with the students' educational needs and the community's desires and aspirations. The school board and superintendent should treat each other with respect at all times. Does that mean you can't disagree with your fellow board members? No. Board members can disagree about policies and voice concerns for improvement. However, the Act provides that each board member will respect the majority decision as the decision of the board. Personal attacks or criticisms of fellow board members, staff, the district, in a public meeting or privately on social media should be avoided. While you have free speech, personal attacks and criticism can implicate the Act, as you are supposed to be an advocate for your school system and support school personnel. Furthermore, it really distracts from my board members' most important obligation, which I'm going to state again, is to advance the educational welfare of the children and to establish policies by which the school is governed. So, we have gone over the main sections of concern for the School Ethic Acts. So I'm going to turn over to the conflict of interest section. So the second part of the Code of Ethics for school board members is NJSA 18A:12-24. This is commonly referred to the conflict of interest portion of the Code of Ethics or the prohibited acts. As you can see, there are 10 subsections that are quite lengthy, which I'm just scrolling through. And I'm not going to read through them all, as they are very technical and at first glance just seem confusing. Instead, I'm going to talk to you in general what this statute is trying to cover and the areas all board members need to pay extra attention to. So there is an unlimited number of ways conflicts can show up for a board member. Additionally, whether a board member has a conflict can be a very individual and fact-specific analysis. So what this conflict of interest statute does is it tries to organize these conflicts into major categories to help board members identify them. The major area of concern are actions involving immediate family members. This is pretty straightforward. Immediate family members are your spouse, your kids, your parents, your siblings. Another area of concerns are actions involving relatives. This is a very broad definition, which has been continually expanding given the modern dynamics of families now. So the go-to definition in regards to the School Ethics Act for the definition of what is considered a relative is defined in NJAC 6A:23A-1.2, which defines relative as a parent, child, sibling, aunt, uncle, niece, nephew, grandparent, grandchild, son-in-law, daughter-in-law, step-parent, stepchild, stepbrother, stepsister, half-brother, half-sister, or of the individual or the individual's spouse, civil union partner, or domestic partner. So they are considered your relative if they are related to you in that way, if they're related to your spouse in that way, your civil union partner in that way, your domestic partner in that way, either by blood, marriage, or adoption. So that is a very broad definition. Note what is not included is cousin. So as you can see, the definition of relevant includes immediate family members plus additional people. So if you are voting, as a general rule, if you're voting on something and then it directly involves a relative or an immediate family member, you most likely have a conflict. If you're not sure, you should reach out to the board attorney. One of the best opinions on conflicts is advisory opinion A24-17. You can Google this opinion and it will come up. I'm going to repeat it again because it's such a great opinion. Advisory opinion A24-17. Here, the School Ethics Act recognized that while this conflict of interest statute is very detailed, it is also extremely confusing, and the School Ethics Commission basically had a bunch of advisory opinions that conflicted with each other. So what this opinion did was go through the Ethics Act and clarify previous confusion regarding conflicts of interest. This is an excellent opinion that explains the rationale behind certain conflicts and provides guidance on what is considered a conflict and what is not. To help board members identify conflicts, last year we prepared a conflict of interest chart that addressed the main conflicts of interest for each board members. Now we will be updating that chart to account for our newly elected board members. However, I believe I am still waiting on a response from a couple of older board members regarding their individual conflict forms. I'm not going to call anyone out individually, but if you haven't resubmitted your form or replied that you have no additional conflicts, please do so as soon as possible. So, while it is important to remember why these charts that we provide guidance on conflicts, these are not all-inclusive lists. As a board member, you may have a conflict for an unlimited range of situations, depending on what's up for vote or the exact individual nature of your situation. So, if you have a question, I would look at the chart that we provided. I would look at this advisory opinion, and if you have any questions that's not addressed in either of those, then for you to contact Steve or myself and to reach out to us at a different time. So now you have officially survived the annual ethics presentation, and I will give it back to Steve to see if he wants to address anything additionally that he thinks he should be brought up.
Danielle, I want to compliment you on a very comprehensive presentation. I will point out that the presentation went beyond the actual printed document in that it tried to give you examples and explanations as to what it means, not based on our interpretation, but based on advisory opinions, decisions of the Ethics Commission, and an administrative law judge decisions as well. So when there is a question, we will always consult those opinions. In the past 7 years, we've had the unfortunate opportunity to prepare charges against a board member, and we hope we don't have to do that again. So this is the purpose of this meeting. I know that everyone seeks to comply with this. We'll be happy to address any questions that you have. Thank you, Danielle.
Thank you.
Mr. President, do you have anything further you want us to address?
No, I don't. That was very clear and explained it all. And Danielle, thank you very much. You did a great job.
Thank you.
You actually go a lot faster than Steve. Okay.
Leave it open. I thought you said you were going to read. No, the resolution is not. Oh, the resolution.
Sorry,
Does everyone have the form? They vote on the form.
Need a motion for the approval of the board member code of ethics.
Roll call.
Motion Plaza?
Second, Nardini.
Tentessa?
Yes.
Egan?
Yes.
Howe?
Yes.
Kidney?
Yes.
Mazenko?
Yes.
Palmieri?
Yes.
Williams?
Yes.
Palazzo?
Yes.
Nardini?
Yes. Okay, I'd like to read the resolution into the record. It's lengthy. Resolution requesting Governor Murphy to include public school district personnel in the official expert vaccine allotment panel's definition of frontline workers. Whereas the Toms River Regional School Board of Education recognizes that the United States, the state of New Jersey, and local health authorities, as well as the World Health Organization, have declared a public health emergency regarding the coronavirus or COVID-19 pandemic. And whereas the federal and state authorities have put in place guidance detailing the precautionary measures schools must implement to stop the spread of this disease. And whereas public schools have profound impact on millions of students, families, and staff, and are charged with the care, education, nourishment of their students, and are an integral part of the health and safety of our communities. And whereas our district has responded to the challenges brought about by the COVID-19 pandemic, providing students and staff members with the technology and resources necessary to ensure the efficient delivery of instruction virtually and in person. And whereas the board has a substantial public interest in protecting the health and safety of its students, staff, and community, and ensuring that the district can provide staff and students with a safe and effective educational environment that supports students' achievement. And whereas the board recognizes that this health emergency made it necessary to close schools and reinvent the educational programs in a virtual setting, and this may have an inverse impact on student achievements and the emotional and social well-being of students. And whereas the COVID-19 vaccination plan published by the State of New Jersey Health Department of Health, December 15, 2020, pages 36 and 37, prioritizes the availability of vaccines to essential workers in Phase 1B of the vaccine protocol. And whereas school district staff at all levels are essential to the day-to-day operations of this district, responsible for the thorough and efficient education of all students, and the social and emotional well-being are critical for virtual and in-class instruction and are essential workers. Now, therefore, be it resolved, the Toms River Regional School Board of Education finds a substantial public purpose exists to request that Governor Murphy give appropriate priority in the statewide administration of the COVID-19 vaccination to all public school district personnel. COVID-19 vaccination plan published by the State of New Jersey Department of Health. See, it's a hyperlink. It's about 2 lines long. Resolved that a copy of this resolution will be forwarded to the member of District 10, Senator James W. Holzapfel, Assemblyman John Cataldo, Assemblyman Gregory P. McGuckin, Assembly Speaker Craig J. Coughlin, Senate President Stephen M. Sweeney, Governor Phil Murphy, and to the New Jersey School Boards Association. Thank you.
Need a motion for the approval of the resolution requesting Governor Murphy to include public school district personnel in the official expert vaccine allotment panel's definition of frontline workers.
Motion Plaza.
Second. Roll call.
Contessa.
Yes.
Egan.
Yes.
Howe.
Yes.
Kidney.
Yes.
Mazanko.
I'd like to just say that I'm confused as to why Governor Murphy hasn't prioritized teachers. The CDC on Friday actually said, in quote, teachers and school staff hold jobs critical to the continued functioning of society, classified educational staff as essential workers. And that isn't just teachers, that's also counselors, safety personnel, bus drivers and depot workers, maintenance workers, custodians, and so forth. So with that, I vote yes.
Palmieri.
Yes.
Williams.
Yes.
Palazzo.
Absolutely, yes, please.
Nardini.
Yes.
Need a motion for the approval of the 2020-21 school bus emergency evacuation drill reports front door.
Motion Williams.
Second Egan.
Roll call.
Roll call.
Contessa.
Yes.
Egan.
Yes.
Howe.
Yes.
Kidney.
Yes.
Mazanko.
Yes.
Palmieri.
Yes.
Williams.
Yes.
Palazzo.
Yes.
Nardini.
Yes.
Need a motion for the approval and adoption of the second reading of the following policies, regulations, and bylaws as listed in the agenda.
Motion Mazanko.
Second, Nardini. Roll call.
Contessa.
I am confused because we talked about a policy that we might look at changing, so I'm not quite sure how to vote.
If I can, you're voting on the
On the use
policy.
of school facilities, that one.
Yeah, you're voting on a policy in front of you. We might change it in the future, but it wouldn't preclude you from voting on this now.
Okay, yes then. Thank you.
Egan.
Yes.
Howe.
I'm voting yes, but I also want to look into our use of school facilities policy and make some changes to benefit the district.
Kidney.
Yes.
Mazenko.
Yes.
Palmieri.
Yes.
Williams.
Yes.
Palazzo.
Yes.
Nardini.
Yes.
Need a motion for the approval of agenda items number 15 through number 20 as listed in the agenda.
Motion Williams.
Second Plaza.
Roll call.
Contessa.
Yes.
Egan.
Yes.
Howe.
Yes.
Kidney.
Yes.
Mazenko.
Yes.
Palmieri.
Yes.
Williams.
Yes.
Palazzo.
Yes.
Nardini.
Yes.
Need a motion for the approval and certification of the board secretary's report for December 2020.
Motion Mazanko.
Second Plaza.
Roll call.
Contessa.
Yes.
Egan.
Yes.
Howe.
Yes.
Kidney.
Yes.
Mazenko.
Yes.
Palmieri.
Yes.
Williams.
Yes.
Palazzo.
Yes.
Nardini.
Yes.
The superintendent asked that for the approval of personnel items 1 through 16. And after we get a second, I'd like to make some comments.
Motion Williams.
Second Plaza.
Roll call.
If I can make some comments.
Oh,
before
I'm
the
sorry.
roll call.
Okay,
I'm
sure.
sorry, Mr. President. I just want to bring the board's attention, the public's attention to the retirements that we have. And we have some long serving employees retiring. I've up to draw your attention to page 3. Kathleen Karn, who has been in the district for 14 years. Deborah Magno, who's been in the district 13 years, one LDTC, one the kindergarten teacher, and we thank them for their service. On page 5, we have 2 retirements of custodians. Barry Burke, a head custodian after 25 years, and Patricia Pakowski after 20 years retiring. And congratulations to them, and we wish them a long retirement. And on page 7, retirements of 3 bus drivers, John Maher after 20 years, Elaine Peters after 24 years, and Steve Winkleman after 30 years. All of those employees, and then one additional that I missed on page 6, Doug Dietrich, who has been with us for 35 years. So we thank them all for their service, and we wish them a long retirement.
Thank you, Mr. Gillinella. Now I'll do a roll call.
Contessa.
Yes.
Egan.
Yes.
Howe.
I vote yes, except for 10A, because I think if we all vote no for Pete to retire, he can't, right? He's got to stay. Yes.
Kidney.
Yes.
Mazenko.
Yes.
Palmieri.
Yes.
Williams.
Yes.
Palazzo.
Yes, and I just want to make a comment about 10A, Mr. Tonko's retirement. When our teachers leave us, our children cry. They touch our kids' lives in numerous ways, and their memory becomes part of the lexicon of our families. The same with our bus drivers and our janitors. Pete Tomko is our facilities manager, and our kids don't know his name, but he has made their environment and the work environment for our staff and the learning environment for our children so much better over his time here at Toms River Regional Schools that I must shout him out and give him kudos. He cleared a backlog of something like 6,000 work orders in a little over a year. That some of them were 5 and 8 years old. He has made a phenomenal impact on the lives of our students and staff, and I just want to recognize him for that. Thank you very much, Mr. Tomka.
Nardini.
Before I vote yes, I also want to say something about Mr. Tomko. Mr. Tomko, I can't fault you for what you're doing, but I can thank you for what you did. And I can tell you right now, it's going to be your hard act to follow. And I don't think Shaquille O'Neal can fill your shoes. Thank you. That's a yes, Wendy.
Okay.
Superintendent, on item 23, the superintendent recommends educational programs 1 through A plus the addendum number 9.
Motion, Mazenko.
Second, Denny.
Roll call.
Contessa.
Yes.
Egan.
Yes.
Howe.
Yes.
Kidney.
Yes.
Mazenko.
Yes.
Palmieri.
Yes.
Williams.
Yes.
Palazzo.
Yes.
Nardini.
Yes. Okay, we're moving to old business, new business, and I know there's some new business that's going to be discussed right now with Ms. Palazzo.
Thank you, Mr. Nardini. This week, our business administrator, Bill Doring, and our interim superintendent, Mr. Giulianella, had the pleasure of meeting with some of the Save Our Students organization and the governor's office to advocate for Tuncer Regional Schools. I just wanted to give you all some information on the background of our school's funding situation and how I personally feel we should move forward. We, the Toms River Regional Schools Board of Education, collectively believe that a thorough and efficient education, or adequacy, is achieved by facilitating a developmentally appropriate and academically rigorous interest-based curricular program, including reasonable class sizes, combined with a robust co-curricular programming that provides enrichment, character education, and social emotional support to all our students of every ability. This is what we want for our students and community. Toms River Regional Schools is currently $38 million under adequacy. Imagine as I speak to you today what we could do for our students in our community with an additional $38 million. How much better could we serve you and your children? On Tuesday, February 23rd, 2021, Governor Murphy is expected to give his budget address. 2 days later, state aid allocations for school districts are supposed to be released. I often disagree with Governor Murphy, but he and I agree on one incredibly important point. It takes a certain amount of funding or money to run a high-quality school district and provide a thorough and efficient education to our students as required by the New Jersey Constitution. The level of funding required to meet state mandates and provide that thorough and efficient education is referred to in education circles as adequacy. Toms River Regional Schools budget is currently and has been for many years, many millions below adequacy. The most recent chapter in our funding crisis is caused by a well-intentioned piece of legislation called S2, which changed how state aid allocations are made in an effort to fully fund SFRA, or the School Funding Reform Act of 2008. SFRA, while determined to be constitutional by the New Jersey Supreme Court in 2009, if the state agreed to fully fund it for at least 3 years, has never been fully funded. SFRA was based on a document produced by the NJDOE in 2007 called the Formula for Success, All Children, All Communities. For any non-parents, 2007 was the year most of our Toms River Regional Schools 8th graders were born. This 41-page document laid out a clear definition of the components that went into the calculation of adequacy. It also lays out exactly how much a model district of 5,240 students, 400 students per elementary school, 600 students per middle school, and 1,640 students per high school should spend on a very detailed list of staff, facilities, and supplies, and how many of each type of staff and at what salary should be employed to serve that district. The idea at the time was that districts should scale these calculations up or down to suit its enrollment. SFRA included a provision that said for at least 3 years, adjusted adjustment aid would be provided so that all districts would receive no less than their fiscal year 2008 state aid amounts increased by 2% annually. After that, decreases in adjustment aid would only occur for those districts that experienced significant decreases in enrollment. In 2008-2009, despite the new formula, schools were still $1 billion under adequacy. SFRA included adjustment aid, also known as hold harmless aid, which was dispersed on top of the standard formula aid. In SFRA's first year, 250 districts, including Toms River, received adjustment aid amounting to $850 million. The intention was for this funding to slowly peter out over time, but no real sunset date was written into the legislation. Governor Christie threw the rule book out the window. To balance the state budget, he cut $1 billion in state aid to public schools in 2010. He also assigned a 2% property tax levy cap that same year, ensuring that districts would be unable to recoup those lost funds through local taxation. The Toms River Regional Schools community was devastated by the resulting $10 million cut in state aid. But we are a can-do community, so with some belt tightening and the expertise of our professional educators, we would be okay. For years, in a well-intentioned effort to put children first, we cut spending on maintenance and other items that did not directly affect our kids, or so we thought. Meanwhile, the state aid cuts just kept coming. In June of 2017, well after school budgets had been set for the 2017-2018 school year, Senate President Sweeney and then Assembly Leader Prieto made a budget deal that once again would slash our aid. In 2018, legislation to fully fund SFRA, S2, was introduced. S2 clawed back funds from so-called over-aided districts that had been held harmless by the 2008 version of SFRA on a 7-year timeline. Districts were intended by the legislation to cover their local fair share, determined by a somewhat vague wealth calculation in SFRA, by raising funds through local taxation. But due to the 2% levy cap, our ability to raise revenue remained the same. Meanwhile, all those cost-cutting measures that resulted in the neglect of our facilities and the impact on our students became apparent. In 2016, the district had commissioned a full facilities review that identified glaring areas of neglect. We would need to act quickly to preserve district schools so that they remained valuable assets for our community. Many of the facility needs were dire. The district was already woefully underfunded and was reluctant to use funds desperately needed to provide our students with a thorough and efficient education for building repairs. The administrative team knew that the impact on our students would be severe. In 2019, the Toms River Regional Schools community stepped up to approve a $147 million referendum to provide our students and staff with safe, comfortable workspaces. Referendum work commenced quickly and is ongoing, ahead of schedule and under budget, giving us some breathing room in the facilities department. But the state has continued to reduce our funding faster than the mandatory minimum and maximum 2% tax levy increase required by S2 can replenish it. As most of you are aware, the district and our community have relentlessly lobbied state leaders to stop the aid cuts mandated by S2. The response over and over again has been that Toms River is undertaxed and we should pay our local fair share as determined by the very vague formula. Over time and repeated exchanges with our elected leaders and their various staff, I've come to understand that when elected leaders talk about Toms River being undertaxed, they're not only talking about our school tax levy. Local fair share takes into account taxation as defined by average property tax and the all-in tax rate. Senator Sweeney has made it clear time and again that the average all-in tax bill and the rate it is based on is what matters. In Toms River, that bill is $6,352 in 2020, and it's far lower than the state average of $9,112. It is also a fact that Toms River's all-in tax rate of $2.31.9 per $100 of assessed value, school, municipal, and county tax included, is the 479th lowest in New Jersey out of 569 taxing municipalities. Now we all know Toms River Schools, as the 6th largest school district in New Jersey, serves the greater community of not just Toms River, but also South Toms River at an all-in tax rate of $2.96 per $100 of assessed value, is the 235th lowest, with an average property tax bill of $4,902. Beechwood has an all-in tax rate of $2.42 per $100 of assessed value, 412th lowest, with an average property tax bill of $4,928. And Pine Beach has an all-in tax rate of $2.96 per $100 of assessed value. It is the 441st lowest property tax bill in the state, with an average tax bill of $6,511. The Board of Education and district administration have no control over the majority of that bill. We were voted in and are required to provide our students, your children and ours, the very best education possible within the resources available to us. We put our children first while respecting the staff that care for them and the taxpayer that pays the bill. We are mandated to provide a thorough and efficient education, or adequacy, by the state of New Jersey. Our funding situation has made that close to impossible the last several years. Toms River Regional School students need a legal path to adequacy. If the cuts scheduled under S2 are permitted to go forward as scheduled, we need a legal way to replace them. We are already $38 million under adequacy, and that was pre-COVID. We spend $38 million less a year than required to provide a thorough and efficient education, or adequacy. It is a fact that moving forward, our students will need enrichment, including academic and social emotional support, to compensate for pandemic-induced deficits. Imagine again what we could do for your children with an additional $38 million. The kids need more, not less. We need your help. We are asking the community to reach out to our state leaders. Remind them gently that Toms River Regional Schools is in trouble. Remind them that our district is $38 million under New Jersey Department of Education adequacy, and that the New Jersey Supreme Court has defined the provision of a thorough and efficient education to be adequacy under SFRA. Urge your legislators to pause the cuts scheduled under S2, but encourage them to provide funding to those districts scheduled to benefit from the program, because all New Jersey students deserve a thorough and efficient education, or adequacy, as guaranteed by the New Jersey Constitution. Please urge our legislators to support a legal path to adequacy for all New Jersey public school students. I close with a reminder that we, the Toms River Regional Schools Board of Education, believe that a thorough and efficient education, or adequacy, is achieved by facilitating a developmentally appropriate and academically rigorous, interest-based curricular program, including reasonable class sizes, combined with a robust co-curricular programming that provides enrichment, character education, and social emotional support to our students of every ability. This is what we want for our students and community. We believe in adequacy for all New Jersey public school students. We hope you do too. Please, I encourage you, reach out. Thank you, Mr. Nardini.
Ms. Palazzo, thank you very much. Thank you very much. I know it was lengthy, but it was certainly meaningful, and I hope it has an impact. Aside from all our administration and our board hearing that, there's 235 members of the public right now watching us who have heard it. I'm asking you, please help us, right? This is your school, your students, your teachers, your district, and we're here to help, and we're asking you to help. Thank you. Now I'm going to open up to inquiries from guests and press, limited to five.
Joe.
Yes.
I have new business.
Okay, let me back up.
Sorry.
Go ahead, Jen.
I just wanted to read a letter I'm bringing from the Education Foundation. I just wanted to say we are pleased to announce that the Toms River Education Foundation is making its second donation to the Toms River Regional School District tomorrow. We will be issuing a check for $5,000 to be utilized for the art program in the district. We will continue to raise money each month so that all of our students receive the same opportunities to participate in the activities that interest them. We want to specifically thank the Office Lounge and the Toms River Education Foundation board member Nick Pagano for helping to raise this money. So I know the art department has some kilns to fix, and I think that's where some of the money is going to go, and I'm sure art supplies for the students. So I'm excited to be able to do this for the schools, and the whole foundation is excited about it. Also, I wanted to, on our number 7 on the agenda, I'm just going to take this opportunity to be a gloating aunt. My nephew, Gavin Redgrave, was Student of the Month of North, and I love you, Gavin. So I just wanted to say that. And also, I love the boys, the gentlemen that received their Eagle Scouts, that they worked with the VFW and Code Blue. Unfortunately, there are veterans that go to Code Blue, and I think that I know that going to Code Blue myself, that when students and young people bring supplies and stop by the homeless that stay there are they're surprised that kids go to see them, and they are excited when they do. So I just wanted to say to James Brierly, that what a great thing you did, and for Jackson Soul to do that with the veterans. I know that both groups of people like when young people appreciate what they do and join them in what they're involved in. So that's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you, Jen,
Mr.
very much.
Nardini, may I?
Absolutely, Jen. Thank you very much. That was very nice. Yes.
Yes,
Ms.
thank
Williams.
you. A quick public announcement for our families. The Habitat for Humanity is beginning the process now to build a new home in Ocean County for a prospective family that will meet the criteria. And if any of our families listening are interested, or if you do know one that might be interested, applications are now being accepted or are available now until April 12th at the Restore on Route 37. And an informational session will also be held at the Restore on February 23rd at 6 p.m. Thank you, Mr. Nardini.
Ms. Williams, thank you very much.
Mr. Nardini,
Yes,
if
Ms.
I
Palazzo.
may just add something to Michelle's comment that's relevant.
Absolutely.
Habitat for Humanity is also looking for volunteers to work in their Restore and volunteers to work on that new build house. I actually forwarded it to my teenage daughter today and said, hey, look, go build a house. So if you're looking for volunteer opportunities for your students who may need them for college applications, this is a really good one, and they can feel good that they did a really great thing. Thank you.
Thank you. There's 235 viewers that just heard that, so maybe you get some takers on that. Anyone else before we go on?
Yeah, Mr. Nardini.
Yes, Mr. Mazenko.
I just wanted to give a congratulations to our teachers and educational services professionals of the year. It was great to hear about all the great things you're doing in our schools and the impact you have. And just another reason why I hope that the governor changes his decision and prioritizes those people for vaccinations. The impact that they have on tens, probably hundreds of thousands of students in our state every day shows they truly are essential workers. Also, I just wanted to point out, I think it was in our January committee meetings, Ms. Contessa had suggested that we put on our website a place with all of our partners, like the Office Lounge, that support the Educational Foundation, our PTOs, et cetera. And I was happy to see that that was on there with a very comprehensive list of partners. So as we're trying to support small businesses during this difficult time, definitely consider patronizing one of those that routinely supports our schools. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Mazenko. Anyone else? Okay, hearing none, I will open up to inquiries from guests and press, limited to 5 minutes as per Board Policy 0167. Members of the public are invited to comment on any school district matter during this public comment portion of the meeting, and each speaker's comments will be limited to 5 minutes. The board, pursuant to Open Public Meetings Act, will not publicly discuss personnel matters. All statements, comments, and questions shall be directed to the presiding officer. No participant may address or question individual board members, administrators, or staff. The board will give all comments appropriate consideration. Board members and employees retain a right of privacy and are protected against defamation and slander according to the laws of New Jersey. Please state your name and address for the record. Thank you. Good evening, and thank you for calling into the Board of Ed. Please state your name and address.
My name is Scott Campbell. I live on Vaughan Avenue. I'm the president of the Toms River Education Association.
Yes, Mr. Campbell, and how are you tonight?
Good, very good. Thank you for asking, Joe.
How can we help you?
I just want to let the Board of Education and the Central Administration know that I appreciate all the efforts they're making to try and reopen these schools on March 1st and March 15th for our students. I've had several conversations with Mr. Gellinella, and we've discussed some of the concerns of the faculty and staff that man our buildings. We don't agree on everything, but we've had open lines of dialogue. I just want to let the administration know that I appreciate the fact that they are addressing the issues of the faculty and staff. They recently put out a frequently asked questions literature that answered 29 different questions that staff members had asked. I know they're now going on a kind of a tour of the buildings virtually to answer any questions that the faculty and staff have in those. I think it's quite an undertaking, one, to open a school. I think it's also commendable that they're trying to keep the faculty and staff up to speed as far as that's concerned. I will say a couple of comments as far as where TREA stands on this issue. One of the things that Mr. Gellinella and I have talked about is the numbers coming down. The only analogy that I can really come up with is if your son or daughter had a temperature of 100 and it came down to 98.6, that's significant. Your kids can now probably go to school. But I think with the COVID numbers, it's more along the lines of the numbers being a temperature of 105 and coming down to 104. While that is an improvement, I don't think it quite puts us in the range where we're prepared to open the schools in the manner that the central administration is talking about. Part of my position, and I represent TREA, is that no matter what we do, and this started back when the pandemic started, that we should do it with the safety of everybody involved. And I think for the most part, I think that's been the intention. I appreciate the fact they've tried to do that. But I don't think that Ocean County, and I don't think Toms River is quite in a position to be bringing more students into the schools at this point in time. The second point I'd like to make is the reference to social distancing. I know that the CDC has guidelines as to 6 feet, and I understand that they are quite different than a mandate or somebody passing a law that says we have to maintain 6 feet of distance. However, I saw a picture today from a teacher in one of the elementary schools that showed me a picture of 29 desks in a classroom. And I don't know that all 29 of those desks will be filled on March 1st, but I know in a lot of cases, that when you start combining cohort A and cohort B, you're going to have classrooms where those numbers are exceeded by 2025, and quite possibly as many as 30 students in a class. The only thing I can think of is I look at the picture of the Board of Ed meeting now, and I don't mean this to be an over-exaggeration, but I would think that if you took each row of desks and moved them laterally so that the bases of those desks were touching, you would have a sense of what some of these classrooms are going to look like. I understand that, and Mr. Giovanello and I have had the conversation that social distancing with a barrier changes the parameters that we're looking at. However, I think if you could each imagine one of those tri-fold science project barriers sitting on the front of your desk, you're not in that. You're still sitting some distance behind it. If you were to move those desks a little bit closer to each other and then turn to each other, for example, if Mr. Nardini were to turn and speak to Mr. Giovanello, you would have a distance of about 3 or 4 feet. And this really isn't in keeping with the spirit of what social distancing is supposed to be. I know in 50% of the cases, as was announced at the committee meeting, that social distancing most likely won't be an issue if the numbers kind of look like what they're supposed to be. If you combine cohort A and cohort B, I think that would create some issues in some classes and absolutely not in all classes. Third point I'd like to make, and CDC has come out and said that it's not imperative that all teachers be vaccinated. I just would like to give the faculty and staff a chance at least to receive their first shot. And if it were possible, not to return until everybody got a second shot. I know it's probably not possible with the speed of which the rollout of the vaccinations is coming, but I think it's something that we really kind of need to take a look at. When the faculty and staff responded to me as to what their concerns were, number 1 and number 1B, 1A and 1B, would be social distancing and the vaccinations. Again, I want to just say I appreciate the open lines of communication with the administration. I've spoken to Mr. Giovanello several times. It's been great dealing with him. And I just think we need to slow it down a little bit. I know that Mr. Giovanello is approaching this cautiously. I know he'll be flexible on this. And I'd just like to say, thank you for giving me a couple minutes. And I hope you all stay happy and healthy and have a good evening. Thank you very much.
Mr. Campbell, thank you very much for calling in. And I know you realize that we have everyone's health and safety and welfare at hand, first and foremost.
Absolutely. Another question.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Have a good night. Nothing. Hearing nothing. Okay. To our 235 viewers, we wish you a good night. Thank you so much for attending. The fact that you're here shows that you care, and we appreciate it very much. Have a good night and be well, everyone. Thank you. Now I need
Motion to adjourn.
Yeah. Now I need a motion to return to executive session.
Motion Mazenko.
Second Plaza.
All in favor?
Aye.
Resolved that the Board of Education